Playoffs.
Playoffs are here. We are in it. The league championship series are now. We've seen the wild card, the four different wild card series come and go. And there's a lot to talk about.
Oh, man.
I didn't think there would be, but there is. Have you watched any playoffs?
Yes, I have. And
wow.
Last year, Sam and I went on a road trip, and I was able to watch playoffs in a hotel. And then I was able to back that up this year. So I was able to watch some hotel, restaurant, sports bar, playoff baseball. As of a couple days ago. And it was great. It was only 2 evenings, and it was only a total of probably 5 innings. But I got to see some really meaty stuff. And so what I can tell you is this. I know that the Guardians ended up losing to the Yankees.
Yep.
And, I heard the Astros made it through.
Yep.
And I don't know about what's going on in the other ones. I should tell you that what I was lucky enough to see in the few innings, the first night that I watched was about as good of a playoff ending as you could have. And so that part was really exciting, but I don't want to bring that up quite yet. I want you to
You're gonna save that?
Tell me more about what you've seen in the playoffs.
So the Mariners finally made the playoffs, and I saw a guy crying tears of joy because they had. And this would not be possible without expanded playoffs, and you want to take that away from him. Why?
I'm the big bad guy here.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone can appreciate when your team is in the playoff hunt. So I understand that sentiment. The main point I will continue to make is that the more teams that make the playoffs, the less cool and important it actually feels to the fans. That's not to say it doesn't feel special. It's not to say it couldn't produce tears of joy. It's just the cold hard facts is when 4 teams make the playoffs versus 12 teams, it's going to feel a little more special that you had a team that proved itself over the long season that they're the most wholesome, best team. The way things are getting put forward right now is the playoffs is everything. Like they're putting everything they got into playoffs. And here's what's been pissing me off. Here's the evidence that I have found.
Lay it on me.
I feel like Major League Baseball is patting itself on the back when it has a great playoff series. Now, what they're telling you is, look how great the playoffs are. We've manufactured it in a way that it's so great. Look how great the playoffs are. Well, the reality is the playoffs are always great because it's important. Now, some series are better than other ones, but you can't take credit for something that is now finally better when there was never a point in baseball ever where like the playoffs weren't exciting. Now, occasionally there's a series where there's a blowout and that's not as exciting, but to be able to take credit for, this never would have happened if we didn't do expanded playoffs, I think that's twisting your words a little bit. That's not exactly accurate. That Mariners fan wouldn't have cried tears of joy with less expanded playoffs, and I'm fine with that.
They had 4 wins over the Rays. Yeah.
They had 4 wins more than the Rays. Is that who they played in a 1 game?
They played the Blue Jays, and then the Rays played the Guardians in the 2
I see.
different 3-game wild card series.
Right.
Which we'll get to that, by the way.
Oh, good.
That 3-game wild card series.
Oh, yeah.
There's already talk of expanding it to 5. We'll get to that.
Got to do it.
First of all, I want to get back to the Mariners, who, yes, did finally make the playoffs. It had been 21 years since the Mariners made the playoffs. They finally made it. The guy cried. They were the fifth team.
Here's what I think is the most valuable, okay? When you take teams like the Braves and the Mets, think how much higher the stakes of the regular season would be if they weren't both getting in.
I have so much to say about that series. That's coming up.
So I don't want people to forget about that, where, it's okay if you had a great team and you didn't go to the playoffs, because if you don't have to win your division, the regular season isn't as exciting, because now the main playoff race is with lower tier teams. It's not the best teams anymore, which isn't going to be as good by definition.
Some people would say that it is more exciting because there's more teams in it at the end.
Yeah, I mean, that's the state of a tournament.
Yeah.
It's, a bunch of teams qualify and then you battle it out. To me, that's not as good because of the prior stated reason of, and I wouldn't have known this if I didn't already live through it, but I know what it's like to have a 100-win team not make the playoffs. It stings, it hurts, it sucks, but when you do make the playoffs later on, it's awesome.
Yeah, that is a thing of the past.
That is a thing of the past.
Yeah,
right.
Rays 186.
Rays 186. Okay.
Yeah. So speaking of the Mariners, man.
Back to the Mariners.
Yeah. No, this is great. You're going to like this. Okay.
I might know what you're saying.
They're in a game with Houston. Okay.
Yeah.
I get the score update. 13 innings scoreless. And I do a double take. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about this. Oh,
13 innings scoreless. That's impossible.
Right.
That's impossible because the automatic runner. Guess what?
I think I know what you're going to say. Can I guess?
They suspended the automatic runner for the playoffs, just
Thank
like
God.
you thought they would. They did it. I wasn't even paying attention when it happened. It must have been the rules committee halfway through the year. I have no idea.
Good for them.
Well, I guess everyone hates that rule. Everyone hates that rule
for the playoffs. It's something, right?
Yeah, the playoffs.
It's a small victory. But
I mean, we had a great game. We had a game go 16 scoreless. First time ever in the postseason.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Julio Rodriguez makes a diving catch to save a run in that 16th inning. Top of the 18th, Pena knocks one left center. Astros sweep the Mariners.
Yeah, I saw at the bottom of the TV scoreline that it went 18 innings. And at that point, I used my math brain and I said, okay, that there's no possible way they could go 18 innings.
Your math brain was correct.
It worked. The three of us had talked about it. Someone came up with the longest game yet is 13 innings since the rule change. And so I'm thinking there's no possible way in the playoffs that it's like mathematically impossible to go 9 more innings with extra runners and no one gets a run across. That would be too fantastic. So I thought, you know what? They could have done a good thing here. And under this very small circumstance, they made the right decision. Yes, they did.
Because people were watching. They're like, we don't want to be embarrassed by this stupid rule that nobody likes.
Oh, I mean, that's pretty smart they would have got they would have got exposed. I mean, but yeah, they're going to get a real taste of November baseball, and hopefully there's a few snowouts and, some BS Midwest weather. And there
was a game that got rained out already.
Yeah, was that Yankees, did I hear?
Yeah.
Yankees.
Yep.
I saw one of the Cleveland walk-offs. So let me set the stage for you. So I'm on my honeymoon. We have a truck breakdown, and we end up in a town that we had no plan of attending. And we end up there for 3 days waiting for our truck to get fixed.
But you had sports.
But this did allow me to order myself a cherry Coke and watch a playoff baseball game, or watch the 9th inning anyway. So there it is. Guardians are down 2, entering the 9th, and Yankees are feeling real good about themselves. So first guy in the inning pops a fly ball routine to right field, and I believe it was Aaron Judge caught it. And the way he caught it and kind of like flipped the ball into his hand and then threw it in, you knew the Yankees were going to win. I mean, it was like, yeah, these guys got it wrapped up. Well, then baseball clicked in, and next guy gets a hit. Then another guy gets a hit, and then some shenanigans happen, and they start putting runs across. And then this whole time I'm sitting next to Sam, and she's either reading a book or doing research on her phone. She was probably doing both. She's not watching the game, though. So I lay a little elbow into her, and I said, hey, let me tell you what's going on here. This is the ultimate baseball scenario where if this guy gets a hit right now, they come from behind and beat the Yankees at home in a playoff game. And she goes, oh, wow. So it takes about, 5 or 6 pitches, and they're drawing it out, and there's no pitch clock. And it's taking a while, and you could tell the crowd's going bonkers. Everyone's loving it. Okay, I'm in a bar, and the game is on mute. And I'm having the time of my life watching this thing going, oh, man, what's going to happen next? Well, next thing happened, single up the middle, 2-run score, beat the Yankees, crowd goes nuts, and then they proceeded to show the replay like 67,000 times. Right. But it was really, really great. And Sam was glad that I told her, hey, this might be a good baseball moment for you to watch. And it just kind of reminded me of how fun it can be when a really good baseball game happens in the playoffs. And again, I only saw the 9th inning. So a really good baseball game, or at least a really, really strong ending. And no matter how much the people that are in charge are messing this thing up, they haven't messed it up to a point where a great baseball game still can hold up under any circumstances. And it was fantastic. And again, I saw it on mute. And when I saw the kid get the base hit and he scored, I had like real pulses of fun running through me. So it was a great experience for me. And I was just kind of happy for everyone. Even the Yankees, it's like, yep, drop your head and walk into the dugout. You've done this so many times to people. But it was really cool. Aaron Judge had me 100% convinced that they had it in the bag. And then it was like...
with a catch.
It was like a crazy dice game where just all this stuff went against the Yankees in a row. It was awesome.
He sold it to you with a catch.
Yeah.
Not a home run.
It was so nonchalant. It was unreal.
Yeah. By the way, that Houston-Seattle game that went 18, tied for the longest ever postseason by inning.
Okay. Does it say time, number of minutes? 8. I mean, shit. Could that be over 6 hours?
That game was 6 hours and 22 minutes.
Ooh, doggies.
And you know what?
Tell me.
I was looking at highlights. Everyone was still there.
Yeah.
Loving it.
What fan wouldn't be loving? I mean, because it's an elimination game too. That's like the ultimate. You get to be at a playoff game for 6 hours. Like what? we grew up our whole boyhoods, teenager, young adult. That's all we've ever wanted in life is be at a playoff game for as long as possible.
All right. Check this out. Pretend you're a Dodgers fan for a minute.
Wow. That's...
So I know it's a stretch, but stay with me.
All right.
Stay with me.
I'll play along, yeah.
Your team wins 111.
1-1-1.
Yeah.
That's a lot of wins.
And then in the postseason, a different team in your division who finished the season 22 games behind you beats you in a 5-game series to advance and end your season.
Okay, so I'm going to speak as a Dodger fan now.
I mean, that doesn't sound natural. This is a team you beat up on all year. They have no business advancing past you in the playoffs. There's no business doing that.
I know what you mean.
I said that this is the Padres' year.
You did.
I'm rooting for them.
Right.
But when you look at that, when you break it down, I don't know how many times they beat up on the Padres, but I guarantee you it was a ton. And they got to go out like that. I don't know, man. If I was a Dodgers fan, this stinks to me. I don't like it.
Well, it's a very obvious blemish on the playoff structure.
I mean, those are the rules, and go for it, Padres. I'm glad you beat the Dodgers on one level, but on this other level, I just looked at the way these two teams finished, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah,
jeez, like
it's actually stupid. Yeah,
this is a these Dodgers. This hurts me to say this. These Dodgers should be in the World Series. They are World Series teams. I want to see them beat whatever the AL puts up.
Right.
They're that good. They were that good this year. And this is bunk.
Okay, well, this is cool because I'm hearing about this for the first time. So I was not aware. Did not know.
111 games.
Did not know the Padres won the series. So was it close?
3-1.
3-1. Not even close.
Was the series closer? I mean, you can't say a 3-1 series isn't close if you don't watch some of it. You don't break it down.
Okay, the thing that I was hearing before the season is like, oh, they're gonna have a bye. This makes it more fair.
Well, yeah, there's the bye for the two best teams. So the way it works is, even if you win your division, you could still be a wild card team now. That's also so dumb. So the teams that get the two best records, they're the golden teams. They don't have to play anybody during this week,
even if they're in the same division. Is that what I heard?
They wait for the wild card series to play out, and then they play those teams.
Yeah.
So they get that bye week, but you can win your division and end up in one of these 3-game series. Now that's how it works. I asked you to imagine being a Dodgers fan, right?
Yes.
Now I would like you to imagine that you're a Mets fan.
Oh man! All right.
Okay, and trust me, this one's going to be weird. They win 101,
okay,
but so do the Braves.
Same division.
Same division, right?
Yep.
Do they play a tiebreaker? No.
Nope.
We don't do that anymore. There's no time for it. we ain't got time for that.
Halloween approaches.
So one of these teams, gets the bye week, and the other one has to play the 3-game wild card series.
Okay. So it was head to head. over the season, I'm guessing.
Right. If any of these teams win more against the other, that's who it goes to.
Yep.
No big whoop. But here's the thing. What if it's a tie?
Oh, do they play even amounts of games? Oh, Jesus.
We have a set of rules. Intra-division record. If the head-to-head records are tied, this would happen only between wildcard teams that played an even number of games. Then the best record within their own divisions determines the winner.
Okay.
Oh, there's more. Interdivision record. If the first two tiebreakers don't settle it, then the next one rates teams' records within their own leagues, but not including their own divisions.
But yep.
Yeah, and there's more. There's more.
Okay.
There's a lot. Yeah, because if that's tied, we got the second half intra-league games.
The
winner will be determined by the winning percentage of each team within its own league over the final 81 games of the season.
Huh.
Oh my gosh, and there's one more. Okay. Well, I guess that could be a tie too.
Just in case.
Yeah, hey, if the teams remain tied after the first 4 tiebreakers, then a winner will be determined by working backward from the final interleague game of the first half until the tie is broken. Oh my God.
Okay, hold on. Let's do one more. And if it's still tied after that, then they could do a 7-inning playoff game.
Coin flip. No, they don't have time for any kind of game, no matter how many innings it is.
3 innings.
No, coin flip.
Can I sell you on 3 innings?
Coin flip.
1 inning with runner starting on second.
You still got to get on a plane to go. Yeah, the league said they didn't have time for tiebreakers this year, so they came up with these rules.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'll commit those to memory. Yep.
All of these, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiebreaker rules.
Great. Put it in the rule book. Dictionary volume 3.
So here's what happened. The Mets got the short end of the stick.
Bummer.
Teams never spent more money on talent. They won 101, and they had to play a 3-game series to survive. Right. Guess what happened?
They lose?
They lost. Yeah, so Padres beat the Mets. 3-game series, and I mean, there you go. Magic year for the Padres. I called it.
Yeah, how did you know that?
It's now or never.
Right.
This is their year. I mean, and with the whole, come on. And without Tatis, too, without that guy.
Yeah, that part's very impressive.
You know what happened to the Braves, right?
Let me think about this. So the Braves, I know they're still in it, or at least I think I know that.
No, they're not. They got that bye, and then they got beat by the Phillies.
Goodness. Beat by the Phils. Okay. Well,
yep.
That's interesting. I didn't hear about the Phillies all year.
Well, now you got Phils and Padres, and then you've got Yanks and cheaters.
Yanks and cheaters, right?
Well, you know what? It turns out, Houston, we call them the cheaters, but it turns out, like, my perspective on this is probably a little off. It turns out probably most of these teams are cheating. It's not just, they just got caught.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. It was like, everyone will say the people at Enron were the shittiest people, and they definitely weren't the only ones cheating. But when you get caught, it's too bad for you.
So now we have the Mets saying, hey, 3-game series, that's not fair. Well, we lost in a 3-game series after winning 101. Yeah, that's not fair. After winning
101. That's not fair.
Yeah, look at all the money we spent. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Yeah, they're going to point to the evidence.
We won a 5-game series.
And now that the Pandora's box has been opened.
It's open. I mean, wide open.
Anytime someone has a gripe with something, it's just, all right, bring it up. Yeah, baseball's open now. Now we can just...
how much does one gripe cost? $500 million? $600 million? You get one gripe. You get a new rule named after you. That's what you get.
I think what I'm getting the sense of big time this year is in the National League, you feel gypped that they didn't get to bring their best representative to the World Series. And who's the hot team right now? Are the Padres red hot? They beat the Dodgers, but you get to the point where you can just kind of throw the season out and it's who gets hottest in October. And yes, that's kind of the point, but it's definitely missing something.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what.
Definitely missing something.
Phillies and the Daddies are tied 1-1, and the Yankees game just ended, and they lost.
Yankees lost.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let me hit you with a Bob Costas idea for the playoffs because we're on the topic.
Did I hear him announcing some of the games?
I hope so. If Bob Costas isn't doing the playoffs, everyone loses.
Yeah, I think I heard him.
Should hear that voice for playoffs. Not saying he's necessarily the best, but
we love you, Bob.
I just can't do Joe Buck anymore.
No, we hate Joe Buck. That's well established. We've talked about it many times. It's never actually made it onto the show, but we both just loathe the man.
Okay, check this out, though. This is from his book he wrote in 2000, and I've literally never thought of this or heard of it.
Not Joe Buck's book. Bob Costas' book.
This is Bob Costas' book. That's correct.
Because if you're reading Joe Buck books, like that's it. I'm going to hang up right now. We're done.
Yeah, no, you should cut me at that point. Yeah, that's not going to work. No, I never heard anyone else say this. I never thought of it myself, and it's by far the thing that makes the most sense to me, and it's so fucking simple. Oh, my goodness. So he says, all right, you got your 3 divisions. Fine. Cut the wild card. The team in the National League and the American League who have the best record have a bye. The other 2 divisions play each other. 6 teams make the playoffs, and it preserves the original form of baseball where you had best record in the whole National League or the best record in the American League.
I never thought of that.
And that took you to the World Series. I know it's so simple, and yet I thought of one thing that keeps it from being perfect, though. And this is highlighted very well by what we just talked about.
Oh, what's that?
If the top 2 division winning records are tied, what the fuck do you do?
Play a tiebreaker. Come up with a series of rules.
See, yeah.
And there's a solution.
I haven't been able to think of the one the
do a coin flip.
The clarifying one yet. Coin flip. Yeah, because it's so everything about it is so fair, except that one. If that one situation happened, I just don't know. Then it would make it look like a stupid rules change.
You know, one of the reasons when I was a kid why I thought baseball was so much more elegant than other sports?
Tell me.
No coin flip.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we figured it out. Home team bets last. This is easy. Like, we don't need to introduce some random chance element into who plays on, what side, whatever. No coin flips in baseball.
I agree. Never thought of it, but I agree.
I used to be able to say no clocks. Can't say anymore.
You got a few more games.
Well, now yes, okay. But I mean, you famously brought up the fact that there are clocks out there already. They're installed in the parks. They are ticking.
They're there.
But they're not playing the role that they will play next year. Hey. I wonder if they will suspend the pitch clock for the playoffs next year.
Yeah.
You think?
I'd be surprised if they didn't.
At this point, yeah. Now I've changed my mind. I'm like, yes, I think they will. There's a precedent for this. The rules that people don't like. They must be listening to the show.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad we're doing it. The word's out there. Jump on board. Tell your friends.
We went the whole year without talking about PitchCom.
Yeah, and now we have that chance.
Yeah, so there was I'm watching this game. I don't even remember which one it is. Don't ask me. And I'm watching the highlights of a game, and the crowd is going crazy. Okay. And the pitcher is confused. Okay. He's taking too long. He's stepping off the mound. He's kind of looking at the catcher. The announcers have decided that he cannot hear the PitchCom.
Yes.
And I just thought to myself, if only there was a way where the catcher could somehow signal what the pitch should be to the pitcher without sound. I mean, like, if only,
Yeah, that's wild.
Did they forget how to do the signs that quickly?
I think he just probably froze up and literally forgot.
They're so afraid now of teams stealing signs with people in the outfield, people in the bullpen, people wearing binoculars, and relaying that in, that they've gone to PitchCom. They've gone full PitchCom for some pitchers, some teams. This is happening, and we never even talked about it.
Oh, okay. So this isn't a thing that's necessarily swept the league yet. Only some pitchers are wearing them. And
it's legal, though.
It's legal, so you have the option.
Yep.
Damn.
So you're wondering how prevalent PitchCom is in the league. I really don't know. And if we had watched more games this year, maybe we would.
What was the other one? You sent me a picture of a guy they thought was cheating, and it turns out his spin rate was higher because It's a playoff game.
Oh, yeah. So one of the Padres pitchers, when they were beating the Mets, when they were about to take care of the Mets, he's just dealing. He'd been in for a while dealing. And
love it. And
he's glistening. And his spin rate's up. And the Mets, as a Hail Mary, are like, go check his ear.
Wow.
Go check his ear. We think he's got some, sticky stuff on there. So they call it in. The guy comes out, he rubs his ear and doesn't find anything. Mets get embarrassed.
This is the main thing that came up in my mind when I heard this, and I had to ask you. I was told maybe a year or two ago that in Oracle Arena where the Warriors play, there's so many cameras that are kind of triangulating all at once that they can tell if a player's injured because of how they're moving about the court. They have that much information.
Yep.
So the question in my mind was, do the Mets have access to this guy's spin rate?
Yes.
During the ball game?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Why wouldn't they?
That's another thing that had never come into my mind where you go, that's research on a level that is so much more intense than not that long ago. And I kind of deciphered that through your texted words, which were like the spin rate was too high. And I'm thinking he's either joking that that's what it was, or the opposing team has those figures ready at hand. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
They show them on TV, bro.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know. I'm so curious about today's baseball fan, how much they're into the new stats. Because I got to say, I got a confession. I don't know. I don't know what OPS is.
So many new stats, yeah, from when you were collecting baseball cards.
Yeah, I'm bad. I don't really know any of them.
Don't worry about it. But they're better. You know how I
don't know what whip is. I'm sure I could learn, but I don't know. I don't know what whip is.
Well, in our day, you would look at stats like RBIs, home runs, stuff like that. And your number of RBIs is totally, if you're on a bad team, it's going to be low.
Yeah.
Right? If you're playing a big park, you're not hitting as many out. Right? Those numbers are kind of dumb, especially RBIs. That's a dumb number to rank somebody by. It's a fun number to rank somebody by.
Sure.
We should definitely celebrate the people who are getting the most RBIs for sure. But it's not a good measure of a really good player on a bad team.
Sure.
Or if there's just nobody hitting in front of them, whatever. So we have a bunch of new stats. I don't want to get too much into that today. Look, here's the thing. Here's what I want to say about this. If you have more and more stats to talk about, get the spin rate on there, get the exit velocity, you don't have to tell stories anymore. Announcing a game, just get these stats, just spit them out. It's faster than yesterday. Oh, it's the best ever. Announcers love this stats,
Yeah, it gives them something to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm picturing like your Terminator umpire. You could be a Terminator fan, and all the stats are going in front of your eyes, like as it's happening.
They have apps for keeping score, and that's actually pretty much what you're describing.
That's what's happening. Yeah,
without the augmented vision.
Terminator fan.
Yeah, that's coming.
Yep. Yep.
You can just look at a player and like his stats will pop up right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're very close to that.
How Arnold would do it.
There's literally, you could really do that now because you can identify the color of the jersey, and if they turn around and see their number, maybe do a little facial recognition, you can probably figure out who they are very quickly.
Yeah. When you're under Terminator vision and something's typing, if you could hear the you know what I mean?
I hope so.
As the letters come across.
Okay. I've got something I want to talk about.
Hit me.
Hit you? Well, guess what? I predicted players hit by pitch would go up.
Oh, yeah.
In the National League.
Uh-huh.
I was wrong.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hit by pitches in the NL went down just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit this year.
Smidgy.
Okay. Just like almost a rounding error. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
From last year. Hit by pitches are up big time when you look at it historically. They're like past double, where it's been in the past. And that's been steadily going up over the last few years.
Whoa.
Last year, we had a lot of uncertainty about whether or not you could use the sticky stuff. And this year, I think when you're a pitcher and one day you're using the SpiderTac and the next day you're not, that's going to affect your control. Mm-hmm. I think that really affects your control. And this year, presumably with the checks, every 3 innings or whatever, the guys are just not using it. Spin rates are down. And with a consistent ball, they're just going to hit slightly fewer people on accident. In terms of like intentionally hit by pitch, I don't have the numbers for that.
Yeah, well, when you say spin rates down, do they actually know that?
Well, yeah, it's a stat they have. So you can, just like you say RBIs are down in the month of April, you can say spin rates are up.
Whoa.
In the month of March.
So let me throw this out on the table. So you're saying it's pretty easy to look up and find a pitcher's spin rate. But
yes.
You also told me not that long ago that it took diligent research to get Madison Bumgarner's offensive statistics.
Nice callback. Yes, that is correct.
Unbelievable to me.
It's super easy to find Madison Bumgarner's spin rate, but you have to dig a little deep to find his offensive stats.
That is truly amazing for a sport that so often is talked about stat geeks. That's just incredible to me.
The sport where you hit a ball with a bat.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yep.
Of where he plays defense.
That's why we're doing the show.
Whoa.
So one of the things that's really interesting about these hit by pitch numbers is they're just way up in recent times. Like in the last 20 years, they're way up. And from the 90s to the 70s, I mean, the hit by pitch numbers are, they're a lot lower than they are now in the modern era. A lot lower, like by half. Okay. And it kind of stays that way as you go like all the way back through the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
It gets really low in the 30s. And I think that's because like people actually got seriously injured. At one point getting hit.
I had no idea.
By the dirty ball, and people kind of changed their mind about, how often they were going to hit people. Pitchers potentially got better, but the really interesting thing I found was that you go all the way back before turn of the century and hit rates are way up there. You go back like 1910 and before, the hit rates are even higher than they are now. I think that's when they had they're spitting on the ball and it was all black and they would only swap it out every once in a while. So yeah, you want to talk about stats? We don't have spin rate going back that far because you need a camera that takes like 1 million, frames a second to see that.
Yeah.
But we have that now, and we've had it for some time, enough years where we can really compare years and go, hey, look at what happened this year. These guys were all using SpiderTac, or a lot of guys were.
Yeah,
a lot. You talk about cheating and how it spreads from one team to another. Well, think about how every single year a baseball team has a bunch of new guys who were on a different team last year. That's how these things spread. SpiderTac, I mean, that could not have remained one team secret for more than a year. If it ever was just one team secret, I'm sure it wasn't.
Yep.
Yeah, no one's using pine tar anymore. No one's using thumbtacks to scratch up the ball because they might accidentally cut themselves in the face.
But that's what it's called. Is it spider like the animal? SpiderTac?
SpiderTac.
SpiderTac, okay. These are all the things I hadn't picked up yet.
Well, the SpiderTac is new. I think it's like a scientific advancement in terms of sticky stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, people have been using all kinds of stuff forever. I love the major league pitcher, the old guy. The number one starter guy, first guy in the rotation.
Oh, totally. The gray hair guy?
All he has is junk.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your first pitch? Spitball.
Vaseline ball.
Yep.
Sandpaper ball. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the oil on his chest, I remember.
So too bad the Guardians didn't beat the Yankees, huh? Well, they won that one game.
Yeah, that one game was great.
Was that an at-home walk-off?
Yes, it was.
Oh, that's so great. That's Major League right there.
And they started, let me just remind you, they started down 2 in the 9th, and the first guy flew out, so there was no momentum, and then it was all momentum. And that still took almost a half hour, the rally, because I think there were pitching changes. There's a lot of things that were happening. But that's the ultimate slow down the game time when you don't know what's going to happen. And the drama just built. It built and built and built, and it was lovely.
Speaking of the Mariners and the playoffs and come from behinds, the Mariners did come from behind with an 8-1 deficit to beat the Blue Jays at one point.
You can't beat that. That's as good as it gets.
Talk about comebacks. No, for real, 8-1. They came back, dude. It was epic. I'm sure that guy cried again. Crying tears of joy.
Hey-o! Yeah, no, that's that. I wonder what the the betting odds on that was that kid crying after that game.
Oh, is that something you can bet on now? That was not surprise me. You can bet on anything now.
I'm sure.
Really glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Love to talk about sports betting.
Yeah, no, you sent me a great article on the new poster child of sports betting.
That was Anonymous 4 sent you that.
Oh, Anonymous 4. Okay. Yeah, I had not heard of that. And I thought it was particularly interesting that it said he is the first player to capitalize on this sort of new era of baseball and sports betting. And I thought that was an interesting choice. That's not the choice of word I would have used.
This is the first zombie of the zombie apocalypse. This idea that we're going to now integrate betting into the sport in a way where the players are promoting it. I just cannot tell you how upset I was when I read that. It was the first thing I read in the morning, and my day was ruined.
Oh, I love hearing you say that. Oh man, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's it stinks. I'll tell you another thing that really, and this gets intertwined with it as well, and it's the fact that they are now allowed to do interviews on the field during games.
The guys have microphones on them while they're playing. They're on the field.
So you don't think that's going to involve itself when it comes down to sports betting and people talking and because think about where shit talking's going. Where
what about this stat? Oh, when he's mic'd up, he doesn't play as well, or he plays better. You know what I mean? Like this. Can you believe this?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, I fell on the mic. Electrocuted myself. Zzz.
Yeah, those are going to tie in together.
Oh, my PitchCom's not working right because of interference from the mic I'm wearing.
Yep. There's no question those are going to be linked together. Betting, microphones, and I mean...
Well, you mentioned that you can triangulate, like make a 3D model of a basketball player using all the cameras and then find out if they're injured.
No, they're like telling the players, you're injured. We know that your right knee's fucked up.
Right, but let's say...
Like, oh yeah, it did feel kind of funny.
Let's say the data is ambiguous and it's like, well, it's maybe it's on the line. Maybe he's hobbling. We've got the early indicators. If the bookies get this data, they're going to work that into their equation.
Totally.
Right? Like he's not full on limping. He's just, there's a little imbalance.
Yeah, that would have been in a Mission Impossible movie like 18 years ago, but now it's actually happening.
This is welcome to real life.
Yeah.
So speaking of real life, I heard we got some fan mail, and I'm so happy to hear from our fans.
Oh, man.
I'm sure it's going to be nothing but roses and rainbows.
Well, I chose this one special, and this is someone that claims to be a fan of the show.
This is someone who emailed you at monalisabaseball@monalisabaseball.com.
Yeah, that's right. He has emailed me before. It was real early. Let me read to you what I received today, and then we'll just kind of go from there. Again, this person claims to be a fan of the show, so it proceeds as this.
Okay.
What up, fellas? Love the show. Keep it up. I could go on and on with things that we agree on, but I wanted to write an email that wasn't simply praise for you.
Oh,
that
good.
would be boring.
Yes, good.
A1 and A2. I could tell early on that neither of you is fully engaged with the current happenings of the game of baseball.
We admit that freely.
Granted, I'm not either, as I admit that my passion for Giants baseball ebbs and flows based on how they are playing. Last year was a lot of fun, beating the Dodgers on game 162 to steal the division title. This year it's been tough to watch since mid-August, when it was pretty clear they weren't going to make the playoffs, even with just about half the teams making the playoffs.
Okay.
With that said, you guys give the impression that the recent rule changes in the last few years have ruined the game for you, only now making it unwatchable. I don't buy it. Based on what I can tell, your commentary on the current game is at a 30,000-mile high view, going off headlines rather than substantive detail. I have heard you guys say things like, I don't want to watch if that's what the rules are now. Here's what I think. You have been detached on some level from the game for some time.
Yes.
I want you guys to ask yourself, when did my obsession for baseball go from obsessed to I'll check the scores and watch if they're in it?
Yeah.
When did you decide I don't have the desire to keep up day to day? Was it getting older with more adult responsibilities and priorities? Was it certain rule changes at a certain time? Or am I entirely off base here? You tell me.
Oh, I love this letter. This is so great.
I love the pureness of the game too much to give up on it because they put a ghost runner on second in the 10th or the new pickoff rule, etc., etc.
Yeah, right.
A good Giants team contending for a championship trumps my dislike of the rules. The game still ends on the last out, the third strike, the walk-off hit. The pitcher still needs to get the final out, and the batter still needs to try and get that big hit. And 75% of the time, the pitcher wins that battle. But that 25% is still magic. Don't get me wrong. Fuck the DH. Fuck the gimmicky interleague. 7-inning doubleheaders, all of it.
We agree.
But it makes me sad when you guys talk about the game like it's a dead grandpa or something. And today's game is the millennial grandson that is bored with the game and staring at his phone. Don't give up on the game, and don't expect it to revert to the old ways either. Adapt. Love to hear your thoughts. Keep up the good work.
I'm so glad that he wrote this to us.
Isn't that great?
This is so great. He's so right about a lot of things. I do want to make a couple points.
Yeah.
The third strike final out. Nope, that's not true anymore because you can end a game on a pitch clock violation now.
Correct.
So I don't want to tear apart his beautiful, beautiful letter, but I will. And
we could do that a little bit.
I don't know if this person has listened to all of the episodes. We have quite a few, and I wouldn't blame them if they hadn't. But I break down into detail how my fandom for the Giants has waned over the years, and I talk about the strike. I talk about Barry Bonds. I talk about the year they announced they were moving, right? And these are three things. There's other things too. And
I mean, my first thought is the show is the answer. Like, we've put out a lot of content to the point that I feel like he basically is baiting us. I mean, I've talked to many people about the show, and they all seem to be, I think they're getting me a little, they're taking what I'm saying wrong. And here's the main thing I'm hearing, and it's frustrating for me because people will say, I'm not going to listen to a show if you just bag on baseball.
Yep.
And when did you stop loving the game? And I'm like in disbelief when I hear people say that because
you still love the game. I still love the game.
They'll rebut it by saying, I can hear like some part of you still loves it. And you go, wow, do you really not understand what I'm saying? That
we wouldn't even be doing this show if we didn't love the game.
It's like my first love and will always be that way. And how there's nothing in the world can make me from stop loving the game of baseball. The game of baseball is everything.
Right.
It's how it's being manipulated. And it's like,
we don't like it.
When I read this morning, oh man, I was
you were lit?
I was almost seething for a while because I'm thinking, why does this person not see what I'm seeing, which is same way for, and okay, here's what people always will say. Oh, the game's been changing for years. You're like, yeah, okay. I understand on that technical point. You might be correct. But the thing is, it's basically been played the same way for a really, 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 really long time.
Right.
And now in very, very recent terms,
the rule changes are accelerating. They're changing all kinds of
huge leaps and bounds. And so when you just say, oh, adapt, I'm saying you don't think there's a risk here of this nuanced game being lost completely in this crazy speed-driven world where its only chance to sort of, to me, hang on to itself is if it remains true to what it is and stop trying to catch up with the other cool sports.
I mean, the point of the show is to talk about why we're against some of these rule changes, and we think baseball's going in the wrong direction. You famously said it where you were like, hey, if there was ever a time to say, hey, I don't agree with the way baseball's changing the game, now is that time. That's what we're doing. We're speaking up. You're speaking up. This is your show. I'm just here to help.
Absolutely. No, that's it. That's it right there. I want it to be at its best possible position, and I think it's doing the exact opposite.
I want to ask the guy, like, are you okay with the rule changes they're doing next year, like the pitch clock? Banning the shift?
Well, basically what I heard from him is deal with it. Like,
we got to
deal with it. You know what I heard is,
I guess.
Yeah, I heard.
Okay.
We're too small. We only get one vote. It's not even worth voting. Like, I love the Giants. If they do well, I'm into it, but I'll always love the game no matter what, happens. That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, why can't we be these fans who just say, hey, we're okay. We love the game. It's fine. It still ends with this and that. Well, I mean, they came for the banning of the shift, and where were you? They came for the pitch clock came, and where were you? Like, at what point do you actually stand up and go, no, I want to speak out too and say I don't like this? Like, at what point? Is it when there's only four guys on the offense and an all running team? When will you join us completely?
Yes.
Because we love the game. We played the game. I want to play it right now. I wish we could just have a softball league instead of doing this. I would trade this show for a softball league with you, but you live too far away.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's that? What do they call this? Where's that high-speed train in California when you need it?
Much talk. It's a lot like the A's new stadium. They talk about it. They got drawings. It looks really cool.
Yeah, drawings are nice.
Not a thing.
Yeah.
It's not a thing.
Less offensive than a designated hitter.
The sport where you hit a ball with a bat.
And I'm having the time of my life watching this thing going, oh man, what's going to happen next?
These rules are complicated.
The playoffs is everything.
And why the hell are they listening to us?
Caught me in La La Land.
Yeah, the playoffs. Yeah. Do you remember when he talked about the artist who says, I don't want to be anywhere in the middle. I either want people to love my art or hate my art. This guy wrote to us from the heart, and I mean, I couldn't be happier. I hope we get more messages like that.